Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to read an article entitled Jakarta Gets Grey Zones by Beijing. This article is published on 30 August 2022 by Evan Alaksmana. China is subjecting Indonesia to maritime grey zone tactics, competitive acts between states short of all-out warfare in the North Natuna Sea. China pursues these objectives is the knowledge that Indonesia will fail to properly respond. Indonesian naval cadets monitor the signal from the KRI Diponegoro 365 during a joint exercise on guarding Indonesia's borders, North Natuna Sea, Riau Island, Indonesia. The latest North Natuna Sea crisis between December 2019 and January 2010 saw the incursions of Chinese fishing vessels backed by Coast Guard and maritime militia into Indonesia's exclusive economic zone or EEZ. Indonesian maritime law enforcement officials claim these incursions have not stopped since then. They have simply become less published. China at the end in August 2021, after a Chinese survey vessel spent 7 weeks conducting seabed mapping inside Indonesia's EEZ. Jakarta has been relatively silent on the matter, despite up to 9 Indonesian Navy and Coast Guard patrol craft observing the encroachment under apparent orders not to intervene. A December 2021 Reuters Indonesia suggests that China has effectively crossed Indonesia's red line by demanding that Indonesia stop drilling in the area. China believes that it has overlapping maritime rights with Indonesia, according to its interpretations of an informal understanding with Jakarta about maritime territory in the 1990s. But Beijing's behavior is less about waging a legal dispute that it is a gradual strategic push to get Jakarta to inadvertently or implicitly acknowledge China's maritime right. Now that China controls key strategic area in the South China Sea, it feels more confident in pushing the envelope. Hegemonic powers are expected to expand until they cannot take any further territory or face sufficient resistance, but Indonesia has failed to push back. Its diplomatic response to the incident was tepid. Even if officials insist that they have conveyed their discontent privately, its security response was also haphazard, inconsistent, and largely symbolic. There is certainly no strong economic or political pushback from Jakarta. Indonesian policymakers are unclear about the goal of pushing back against China. Some believe that getting China to renounce its 9-dash line claims to the South China Sea is simply unattainable. Unlike Indonesian President Joko Widodo prefer crisis resolutions over preventions to avoid strategic noise crowding out his domestic agenda. Many believe that China's behavior is merely a law enforcement issue, not a strategic problem. This lack of clarity is the first sign of strategic failure, rather than pursuing a limited and achievable goal of stopping China's illegal incursions into the North Natuna Sea. Indonesian policymakers settled for a diluted response. These hollow acts, such as holding a cabinet meeting aboard a warship, can be solved domestically as strongly asserting Indonesia's sovereignty. Such model thinking is partly due to Indonesian policymakers' insistence that the country does not stake a claim in South China Sea dispute. Indonesia has a strong bilateral relationship with China, and its position in the South China Sea is legally recognized under international law. This means Indonesian policymakers are prone to viewing gray zone incursions as short-term maritime law enforcement problem, rather than a wider strategic gambit by China. The lack of clarity leads to a lack of strategic coherence needed to integrate a wider range of diplomatic, military, and economic instruments into an all-out pushback against Chinese encroachment. Instead, Indonesia compartmentalized the problem by separating its bilateral ties with China from the North Natuna Sea issue, the South China Sea dispute, and great power politics. This approach is ostensibly reasonable given the complexity of those issues and the fact that China is the most domestically polarizing foreign policy issue of the day. The Indonesia elite are also increasingly dependent on the private benefits and public good China provides, especially those extended during the pandemic. But as they worry more about the public security of our dealings with China, Indonesian strategic policy becomes less transparent. China's gray zone strategy succeeds when there is a lack of transparency in Indonesia. Policymakers seem unable to conceive of the range of options between surrendering quietly or going to war over fisheries. These flaws explain Jakarta's failure to launch a meaningful response to Beijing's gray zone tactics. Indonesian policymakers have to seriously contemplate the various options available, such as establishing minilateral maritime alliance or reviewing China's Belt and Road Initiative project. But if Widodo is not interested of directing a strategic response, each stakeholder from the Navy and Coast Guard to the Foreign Ministry will develop its own disparate plan of actions. So that's all the article. Bye bye and see you on my next video.